We do not have the answers to all of the world's problems. They've not been revealed.
Travis, my good soul. Whew. Big crash night. Have those every once in a while when I struggle for sleep. Yesterday, it's conflicting. When I make major discoveries, it's happy dance time. Yesterday I made a major discovery from the Joseph Smith papers, confirming that I wasted all my time on the research when the church exposed it. Confessed. It was right there in the documents. But nonetheless, I was right. All the research I do is correct, because I do it in accordance with the scriptures, which is scientifically based. Likening the word unto a seed, to find out if the seed is true or if it's false. So having studied my scriptures, even through the church, with that short-lived study your scriptures program, I knew how to do it, I did it, I made the discoveries. But at the same time, the conflict is that being born and raised Mormon, I am programmed with all of this information that the church is true, that I was held in reserve to come to earth at this particular time to do a specific work, and that all of the claims make me the chosen one as a Mormon, only to find out we're the great and abominable church of the devil. But yeah, doing my research, that's what I found. So the documents from the Joseph Smith papers yesterday confirming, yep, this is the great and abominable church of the devil. It wasn't a shock to me, because I'd already done the research. I already knew that was what this church was. But over this past decade, trying to warn my audience, being able to use a social media platform that can communicate with the whole world, to put out the warning voice of the danger that we are all in because of this Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And to be attacked directly by them and through them. Because they are trying to cover it all up and hide it from the world. They don't want anybody to know what is in the Joseph Smith papers, and yet they released it. They don't want anybody to study the scriptures, but there are people who do. They don't want people to know of their secret plot, secret combination, and yet they leak it. What the hell? study of the scriptures, being obedient to the short-lived failed trial plan of study your scriptures in the 80s. I know my scriptures. I know it very well. I know we're not supposed to be Christian. We're Jewish. Pre-Babylonian captivity Jewish Egyptian. And they've been repeating the lie over and over and over and over and over again. And they ignore my video content, and they keep pushing the lie on Mormons who readily believe it. And so I had a guy yesterday comment, "I don't understand your title. Jewish Egyptians? That doesn't make sense." What is that? What kind of a religion is that? It's right there at the beginning of the Book of Mormon. I mean, yeah. What is obvious to me, Mormons don't see. Because of the severe indoctrinating brainwashing of this church. And it's a psychological tactic. But it's Lucifer's doctrine. Take away agency. To lie repeatedly until people believe the lie, and then the lie becomes the truth. And people don't bother to check or do the research to understand, wait a minute, this contradicts what you said here, and this is not what is in the scriptures, and this defies the laws of physics. Exactly. This is an evil practice, and that's exclusive Mormon doctrine. The doctrine of Lucifer, exclusive Mormon scripture. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is following it to a T. And not a single Mormon sees it. And then they emulate it. And they implement it in their lives. I knew this as a kid because my mom, as a strict Mormon, went on a mission herself. Raised us strict. She took away our agency. She was trying to socially, behaviorally control us. She failed. Me, at least. But yes, being taught in primary and in Sunday school and in seminary, we're taught Lucifer's doctrine. And I'm smart enough to go, wait, my mom's taking away my agency. That's Lucifer's plan of happiness. That's weird. These things I know. And so Mormons are ordered by the Strengthening Church Members Committee, are on their own attacking me, threatening me, trying to destroy my life. You know, my mom died December 21st, 2021. I didn't find out about it until I happened to be searching the internet as to why my mom had not been writing me for several months. And I found her obituary. The family never bothered to tell me because they did this to me along with the church to destroy my life. And these kinds of things, Mormons don't see how they're the bad guys. when you take away somebody's life, when you take away somebody's liberty, extorting them to be Mormon, to be faithful and believe the lie, and to destroy and steal somebody's property. And you think you're the good guy, that you're righteous, that you're the one true church. That just doesn't compute for me. So let's go over the leaks, the plot to overthrow, let's just get into it. Thomas B. Marsh was correct. The Joseph Smith Papers exposes that they are who Thomas B. Marsh said they were. The Order of Nehor, the Danites. I stand all amazed at how accurate my research was, though I'm not surprised because I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew with this. That William Foxwell Albright is a complete moron and should never have been as popular and as honored as he was. The guy was a fraud. And Sir Alan Gardner along with him. Dear God, the acronym theory, are you mentally retarded? But nonetheless. They fooled the world. And even though my research has gone around the world, people know of the alternative. People still can't figure it out for some reason. Nonetheless, from the journal, not Joseph Smith. From July 1838. All before it hit the fan. And then they go out and they list the meetings that they were holding. To set it all up. Oh God. Thus far, according to the Order of the Danites, we have a company of Danites in these times to put to rights physically that which is not right and to cleanse this church. White supremacist Christian nationalists of very great evils which have hitherto existed among us. Yeah, you. You're the evil in this church. See how they beam and moat? That they are falsely accusing regular, normal Mormons just because they weren't converted by them into the wrong church. They're calling Joseph Smith's church evil. They framed and blamed him to get rid of him, to cleanse the church of Joseph Smith, and to get him locked up in Liberty Jail. This is what they're saying here. Joseph Smith is unfit as the leader of the church. And, yeah, they got him. Inasmuch as they cannot be put to rights by teachings and persuasions. Just like them. Beam and Mo. This company, or a part of them, exhibited on the 4th day of July. They came up to consecrate by companies of 10s, commanded by their captain over 10. Evil disposed and designing militant persons against the Church of the Latter-day Saints. Jewish, not Christian. That's what they're talking about. That's why they put in Jesus Christ in the name of the church. They are anti-Jew. And they got the church to believe this hate. As missionaries still to this day follow the same pattern, lying to the world, giving out a Book of Mormon, which says right in the beginning, pre-Babylonian captivity Jewish Egyptians. And anybody who falls for the con is illiterate and a sucker. And there you had last week Oaks giving a Book of Mormon to the Mongolian president or ambassador guy. Do you really think he's that mentally retarded like you are with your tardive dyskinesia, Oaks? Beam in mode. Beam in mode. And so they even spell it differently. I saw in the notes by Royal Skousen that they apparently were listening to my videos talking about Thomas B. Marsh trying to explain themselves. That it was nicknamed Diamond. Not according to the documents. I can't find Diamond anywhere. They spelled it originally so close to how Joseph Smith pronounced it. A-W-M-A-N instead of Joseph's A-W-M-E-N. And so it was never intended to be A-H-M-A-N. Never. From the very documents, these Danites spelled it the way Joseph Smith spelled it when he was working on the Egyptian alphabet and grammar. Just unbelievable. So Thomas B. Marsh was correct. These guys are forming a coup against America, plotted for 200 years. And I exposed it. That they were going to frame and blame Jesus. That Joseph Smith was correct from the second vision. From Malachi, adding the change. They that come shall burn you. Christians, those evil disposed and designing militant persons against the Church of the Latter-day Saints, putting in Jesus Christ, who was Willard Richards. The Danites. They are the enemy of mankind. I'd already done the research. Already knew. And that's why I'm here. because I found The Way to Perfection by Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., who was taught by these Danites as he was a boy coming to this valley after his dad was assassinated by them. And so he didn't know that he was the enemy that murdered his father. And so what he knew, he was telling as if it were true, that Jesus is coming in the latter days. And we have the forecomings of the second coming, which is really the who knows what number coming of Jesus. Because technically, the second coming was in the Book of Mormon. Unless you count his coming back to Thomas and the 12. Nonetheless, Mormons have the unique apocalypse in which Jesus suddenly comes to his temple, Adam on Diamond, Mount of Olives, and then to reign forever in the millennium in America, in New Jerusalem. That's what Mormons get taught. And so this Adam on Diamond is about where we are told in the church as a myth, before the Joseph Smith papers came out and Oaks got leaked, and I found it from Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., that it's just a priesthood meeting, that the priesthood would be gathered, and there all of the prophets are resurrected in attendance, handing over the keys to Jesus, which never made sense. Doesn't Jesus have the keys? Why does he need to be given the keys if he already had the keys and he gave them to all of the prophets throughout time? Okay, fine, a ceremonial technicality. But wait, this sounds exactly like verse 22 in section 107, which was never done by the church for transfer of authority to the successor after the president dies. Exactly. So that's what Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. exposed. That there is supposed to be a secret, shh, don't tell, transfer of government authority. Who Lucifer holds those keys. And is going to be in that meeting in the presence of Jesus and hand over the keys of government to him. And then the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will assume the role of government over the whole world, not just the United States of America. That shows how indoctrinating in their brainwashing these Danites are successful with. That they are able to take people who grow up Christian, who believe in supernatural stuff from their birth, and you just put a little bit of a twist in it. Jesus now has a body of flesh and bone. Constantine was wrong. But he was right about everything else. Just the nature and character. And the church was able to get baptized over 17 million people, even though 15 million of them have left. But that's the danger, is that this church has a record on all of you, all of us. They are creating blacklists, not just through porn. They want to compromise you like Russians do to their people. I saw a news segment a couple of days ago about Russian honeypots. They're still doing it. Still doing it. Well, to spy on everybody. And I got that clip from Oaks talking about porn. We need to protect ourselves. You'd protect your home with a smoke detector, so we need to spy on people's computers. We need to know what they're watching. Thus the Strengthening Church Members Committee, who cyber terrorize, hack, spy on people's computers and devices. It's not just watching my YouTube videos and downloading them. They're hacking my system. They're the cause. Because if it wasn't for this church, nobody would care about me. Nobody would be interested in anything I have to say or do. Nobody would hack me. Only this church is paranoid because I exposed them. They're the cause of all my suffering in this life. And they come right out and say, let's read it. Let's read it. I'll bring that one up too. Because this is also what I exposed, that the church is doing this. And then I found out about the Strengthening Church Members Committee. Yep, what I already knew, and there it is. And now I know the actual people involved. Elder Oaks, on October 2nd, 1993, from the Deseret News. So this wasn't a leak, this was an outright confession. Explain that local leaders are informed by church headquarters about members who may possibly be violating church standards. Yeah. Cleanse the church of evil. The Danites. That's what this means. You're evil. They don't accept what you do. You must conform and comply. The church's Strengthening Church Members Committee pores over newspapers and other publications, and now added the internet. Because back then, they couldn't break into your home. But that's why they had the home teaching program. Visiting teachers for women. So they could do it and return and report. And now that they've got the internet, we don't need home teaching anymore. We'll just call it ministry. Nobody will do it. Because we don't need it anymore. We're cyber terrorists now. and identifies members accused of crimes. Yeah, Mark Hoffman was the cause for the creation of this. They got exposed. And so they were pissed. We must never let this happen again. Preaching false doctrines. Yeah, this was the very next month after September 6th got fired and excommunicated for studying. And the other guy from that same site that I got the other Oaks leak from the Boise rescue, he's claiming that it was because the September 6th were lefty Antifas. Talking about women. No! They were finding out stuff from church history that was panicking the church, threatening their authority over us. False doctrine, as the church calls it. It's in the scriptures. False doctrine! Get 'em! Criticizing leadership. I've got that quote from Oaks. It's wrong to criticize leaders of the church, even when that criticism is correct. But it's not wrong. What you're talking about, that Mormons are not being told of, is that we're not supposed to lie about people, slander and defame them when they didn't do anything. But you're calling that criticism. If you're not following the scriptures, you better damn well expect Mormons to stand up and go, that ain't right. And you don't, because your authority, just like the Danites, must prevail. As you can't even figure out how to be a translator. You don't even allow the gifts. You deny them, and Mormons still follow you to their dying grave. You destroyed Joseph Smith's character. You criticized his leadership. You criticized the Book of Mormon. To lie about it. To say that it's wrong. And to overthrow Joseph Smith by lying as missionaries. Or other problems. That information is forwarded on to the person's bishop or stake president, who is charged with helping them overcome problems. Really? And stay active in the church. Threatening people's lives and liberty and property. That's to help us stay active in the church. Bleep you! You destroyed my life using that family proclamation, which is a family separation. You did it. I didn't do it. I didn't do anything wrong. I had jobs. I was trying to raise my family. And you stepped in and destroyed it because I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. And you couldn't. You're the fraud. And you cover it up and hide the fact that you're the fraud by attacking those who are smart and intelligent, who find something out that you didn't want them to find out, that it threatens your authority with. Bleep you. There isn't even a level of hell deep enough for you. Lucifer's having to put his slaves to work overtime to dig the hell deep enough for you when you arrive, Oaks. They got Brigham Young in chains doing it. And so, having exposed their plot to murder you, and the church trying to activate me in 2019 since 2018 when I got booted out. Travis, church headquarters told me you got to take down the video on Adam Fell that man might be. It's going against the leaders of the church. Excuse me? It's in the Book of Mormon. It's the doctrine we're taught. And the leaders of the church called you and said, I gotta deny the Book of Mormon. Bleep you! No more underwear. Way to go in activating me, you dumbasses. I already did the research to know Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon were true. And they come along and say, deny it. It ain't happening. I know the truth from my studies, from the research, using science, logical, Socratic methodology, in the development of theories that I tested for confirmation. Knowing words by their fruit. You're the ones in the wrong. That bishop, Reed Hammond, has no honor and integrity, despite serving our country in the service. No honor, no integrity. To be a bishop in this church and to not even believe the religion as printed. To cave when church headquarters calls him up and says, shut down Travis. And he just says, okay. For my family to betray me in 2008. To try to murder me because the church told them so. Through the cops. Through Mark Shipwreck. This is how they activate people. And this is how they're going to cleanse the world of its wickedness. That's why you gotta pay attention when they speak. When Oaks comes out and says, we need to return to the good old days where mankind survived in families, where we didn't have this technology of evil. This is what he's talking about. The Danites purging the world of wickedness that they started with Joseph Smith's church. And it escalated to the election in Davies County in 1838. They caused the Mormon War. And now they're going to purge the world through Armageddon, using the Jewish calendar dates and clock times to frame and blame Christian Jesus's interpretation. Pure evil. That is Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. and what he exposed with the Adam-on-Diamond meeting. And Oaks gets leaked. I was forced to sue the church. Did it twice. I'm the one responsible for the Insurrection Act because of the lawsuits. Bill Barr had to look it up. He was the one that brought it to the attention of the prosecutors, for which they then used it on the January 6ers. That was me. Trying to save Mormon lives. I have made an impact in world history, but nobody will know about it unless they do the research. Hey, there's a lawsuit filed against the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in 2020 that is using the Insurrection Act under RICO. Oh, that was right before Bill Barr had his meeting. Just like a week after, that weekend. Yeah, exactly. Creeping death appeared, just like from the Exodus. Parted the waters, just like the Exodus. All the other things happened, just like the Exodus. I am the man like Moses, from section 103, verse 16. That's me, Mormons. Mormons don't care. They're waiting for Jesus. These prophets never expected me. They didn't believe it. They were cleansing the church of it because it's Jewish, not Christian. When Albert Pike says that the pure doctrine of Lucifer will emerge after mankind is destroyed, they're talking about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And here I am, of all Jewish, pre-Babylonian captivity, Egyptian prophecy, with its calendar dates and clock times. I showed, I did everything, but the church doesn't fall. What the hell? What happened? How do we get Mormons to Zion to save their lives? So years go by, find the way to perfection. The church is pissed and they send me the death threat at the bus stop. And they destroy me. And somehow I managed to survive. This is not all my property. There's stuff that did not make it, like my mom's final letter to me in September that year. I will never know what she said. And I end up here doing videos, making new friends. And still wondering what happened, what's going on. And then I see that we're, 2024, the signs in the heavens are finished. 3 days of darkness are over. Well, what happened? What's going on? Oaks was supposed to have, or Nelson was supposed to have the Salt Lake Temple finished, and it didn't. And they're saying it's another several years. But they swindled the new female president of the Community of Christ to hand over the Kirtland stuff. Which, in case you missed it, They got Joseph Smith's original 1830 Book of Mormon, and Joseph annotated it with no polygamy. Church didn't bring that one out. And so the Kirtland Temple was the temple instead as a default. But Trump still failed. It was Biden, technically. There was supposed to be something happening, and I'm going to... Something was supposed to happen, and it failed. Did they fail? Did Armageddon fail? The October conference comes and goes, no Jesus. Uh-oh. Nelson said in the coming day, Jesus would show. Where is he? Where is he? The week is over. Where is Jesus? He didn't show. Oh no, where's Jesus? I can find Waldo easily. I can't find Jesus. November. Oakes's leak in 2020 gets leaked by a Mormon woman because a month later she learned that Nelson had said in conference that in a coming day there'd be Jesus. And because she's not intelligent enough to know that in the coming day means less than a week. That in the coming days, yeah, it's less than a month. Nelson kept switching off over the years. Nonetheless, she found Sister Jessica's mission website from 2020, November last year. And the Mormon YouTube employee who lives down in Utah County in mommy's basement thought he would put me in my place. That the church is true, Travis. See? Because that woman who does YouTube videos sent it to another guy who does YouTube videos, favorable of the church, obviously. Because the church is so true as evil. And he recommended that video for me. Thank you. Now I know why. He's been stalking me this whole time, along with the Strengthening Church Members Committee. He knows I'm going, what the hell happened? Why didn't Armageddon happen? Where is it? Why isn't it here? Why are we not in Zion? What the bleeping hell? Talking to brand new mission presidents who he expected would not record him or even remember what he said, because they're going to be focused on their missions for 3 years. They're going to be gone. President Marquis was a naughty boy. Needs to be activated. And of course, brand new 19-year-old Sister Jessica. Still missing. He tells them on the 14th of March, "18 days after. 18 days after I served them." In Las Vegas, Nevada, in Chiasmus even. If you didn't want them to remember, you shouldn't have put it in chiasmus. You shouldn't have even said it. But Oaks said it. Because he's that brazen that he is getting away with it. Because he is. They did. The damage is unstoppable now. Earth is on course to destroy itself. And yet you still see people talking about the dangers of AI. No, it's programmed. If it's going to destroy mankind, it's because it was programmed to destroy mankind. It is not an intelligence. It's a program. But nonetheless, this is not the end of the world. Armageddon, second coming of Jesus. But merely a test. Oh crap. Travis was right. Travis's research was right. Yeah, I already knew this. It wasn't surprising. But yeah, it's happy dance because Oaks got leaked about it, confessing. A trial run for the second coming. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints from the Danites to cleanse the world after having cleansed Joseph Smith are going to destroy the world, just as Joseph Smith said they would. They that come shall burn you. And so that's why I did all of the reporting. Well, this is interesting. They're meeting with Islamic terrorists. Oh, Putin, war against Ukraine. Oh, Islam against Israel. Yeah, the church. They've been going around the world pushing leaders to war. Revelation chapter 16 on Armageddon. The false prophet. 13 and 14. I already knew this. But to have Oaks get leaked confessing and President Marquis clueless. Sister Jessica obviously clueless. But 19. In case you forgot, Monson changed the ages. My mom went on her mission when she was 21, which was actually, 21. She had already graduated from BYU, Hawaii, for her associates. Still wasn't getting married. She was not allowed to marry a Hawaiian because her parents are more racist than her. And I guess she didn't want to marry a sailor. They were into porn. They only wanted sex. How evil! Boys must be able to turn off their little factories. Thank God she was not allowed to watch the priesthood meeting where Packer came out and gave that talk, which Nelson then banned. Because they've been obsessed with porn to cause war and violence over it, to spy on people, to use it as extortion when they get their kingdom back. Oh, I saw you were looking up chunky butts. I'm sorry, I'll do whatever you say. They got you. When they themselves are practicing the correct translation of porn. temple prostitution of the Greeks, forcing Mormons to pay tithing in order to turn on their factories and have sex with only a Mormon girl. Pure evil. So yeah, the Boise rescue. Again, Oaks confessed. Mormons believe Jesus is real because they tell us repeatedly. Joseph Smith saw physically Jesus in the grove. That he sees angels physically. That he that Jesus appeared physically to the Nephites, doing supernatural stuff the whole time, defying the laws of physics. That Jesus is physical, not homuzion of the First Creed, in the Roman period time. The Jews were wrong. It's not the Jewish Christ. That is a type and shadow used by the character named Jesus in that version. It's literal history. The Jewish authors are wrong, and Christians are here to correct them and cleanse the Jews of their wickedness and evil. They're witches, pagans. They must be cleansed. So the church perpetuates that, but it's now physical Jesus. And he has never ascended. Never. That is a tell. Because ascension, according to the Jews, is taking over the throne in Zion. I knew this the whole time. That's why I tried to point it out to you guys. Hoping you would catch on. That what they're talking about is Jesus will not ascend until they destroy the earth and take over government. Then Jesus ascends. The Danite Code. And yet, despite all this teaching about a physical, real Jesus that Mormons believe that appears to the prophets, if not just to the president in the Holy of Holies in what was the Salt Lake Temple, before it's still being remodeled. And is he going to park at the window? No, he's not. Interesting. So did the chief of police have to talk with him? That's the only thing I can figure. Because the space is still there. The cars are still in place to save his spot. Earlier this week, I think it was on Monday, the guys were trying to fix the red car. It's a hopeless cause. They've sent it to mechanics even, and it just can't be fixed. Whatever's wrong with it. You got to replace everything and start all over. They don't have the money for that, obviously. But anyway. And so despite telling us and having us believe that Jesus is physically real and that he's going to murder me for my apostasy, He'll show me. If Jesus is real, all he needs to do is show up, and I'm instantly wrong. He doesn't need to come and hurt me. And yet Mormons believe this. My Jesus can beat up your Jesus. What, like your dad can beat up my dad and is in the hospital because of my dad? That's your Jesus? My Jesus has infinity powers. This is what Mormons do with Mormonism. They just take it into a psycho tangent. And so, the Boise rescue leak. Nobody's supposed to record him. Not supposed to have a transcript. Not supposed to have an audio recording. Don't you do it. Apostasy. I'm having to put these Boise people in their place. An Idaho chick did confirm it would have been her if she stayed. She moved temporarily during this time. And so she heard it from her parents. Confirmed. And so he confesses. I will read his own words. Modern apostles are called to be witnesses of the name. Thank you again, Stanford, for asking for my insight on witnesses of the name. In case you're still listening, you're still wondering why, because you didn't watch yesterday's big bombshell video. That's why. And he quotes from section 107, verse 23, not verse 22, 23. This is not to witness of a personal manifestation. He even takes the word that all Mormons screw up in Moroni chapter 10. Manifest the truth. And Mormons call it a spiritual witness feeling. Do you see how damaging he is exposing himself, having deceived Mormons? That he is saying manifest the truth is physical in Moroni chapter 10. And then wait, there's more. Of course, apostles are also witnesses of Christ. Just like all y'all of the church who have the gift of the Holy Ghost. Spiritual witness feeling of Jesus. Not a personal manifestation. I probably have to read Moroni chapter 10, right? Because you don't study anymore. Studying leads to apostasy. All missionaries should know this, because they still read it to their investigators after taking them to 3 Nephi 11 about the personal Jesus who's physical. And then you take them here to say it's spiritual. As a kid, I'm thinking literal. Oh, Joseph Smith had a question as to which church to join, so he prayed and saw physical Jesus, so I can pray and maybe physical Jesus will appear to me? Oh wait, you're saying that Jesus will never appear to me because I'm not worthy? I'm a lowly scum, not the president of the church? When ye shall receive these things, I would exhort you that you would ask God, the eternal Father, in the name of Christ, if these things are not true. And if you will ask with a sincere heart, with real intent, having faith in Christ, he will manifest the truth of it unto you by the power of the Holy Ghost. And by the power of the Holy Ghost you may know the truth of all things. Oaks to the Boise Rescue Society. Destroyed the meaning of Moroni, which is what the church has already done to you. That they claim Jesus is physical, but you can't see him physically, and so you have to believe in him spiritually. No Jewish, a Mormon who has the gifts, who doesn't have titles. Gifts. Because Pharaoh, yeah, he didn't have the gifts. He had to get his priests to try to put Moses in his place, and they failed. Moses has the gifts, not the priests, not Pharaoh. Very clear story. So when the Jews say a man like Moses is their Christ, and Joseph Smith says a man like Moses is a Mormon, it's pretty clear what they're talking about. And the church never expected me. They never believed that I would show, and here I am. And they've been trying to murder me ever since. Because I'm a threat to their authority. Okay, so that's it. KSL is still pushing the church's family services by promoting psychology generally on their channel. They aren't stopping. Psychology, like a religion, like a cult leader, tells you how to live your life, how to feel, how to believe, and thus how to act. This is social behavior control. They do this by repeating over and over and over and over and over and over the lie. And it's name calling and bullying. And in religion, you're worthless scum. You need Jesus to save you. Yeah. And so through name calling and bullying, they get you to accept it. By repeating over and over and over again your submission to their will, you end up proving their self-fulfilling prophecy for you. You give up your agency. Now they control you. If you are meeting with a psychologist, if you are getting drugs from Big Pharma through them to have tardive dyskinesia, like Oaks, You're in bondage to them. They own you. There is no cure for mental retardation, because there is no such thing as mental retardation. They took away your agency by bullying you into believing they're true. This is why psychology says that, oh yeah, you're watching the cell phone too much. These are ways in which you can control your children's viewing online. And it's diversions. It's to take away agency, to get parents to take away the agency of their kids. That's why the church pushes porn. Article of Faith number 13. I was confused as a teenager. Wait a minute. If there's anything beautiful, lovely, of good report, or praiseworthy, and females are, I'm commanded to seek after them. And yet, you're also telling me that they're evil. They're of the devil. They're harmful to me as a child. They're gonna murder me. They've got the looks that kill. What? Exactly. Lies. Obvious lies. And yet there are people who believe it and who promote it and spread it. You got superhero no-faps in this church. I will destroy the world and cleanse it of its impurities as Mr. No-Fap. Super No-Fap. I can do it. Psychologists turn people mentally retarded. They create through bullying, just as the bullies did. It was their bullying name-calling that created LGBTQIAPO+ through psychology. They embraced it and owned it, and now we're in a world of hurt because of it. Denying science, denying logic, denying truth, and you're forcing it on all mankind to destroy the Constitution? You already had rights as a human being, citizen of the United States of America, and you fell prey to the bullies and psychologists. They all came from Nazi Germany. And then finally, along with mothers, infants, and children no longer receiving money for food, women no longer are allowed to work because Salt Lake County has now closed down daycare centers. So all mothers have to stay home barefoot, pregnant, in the kitchen without a husband because they're wicked. And so you get no money for food. You have to stay home. And so how do you get money? Exactly. The church is putting on the squeeze here at the end. Destroying mankind to rule the world, if there's going to be anybody left. So finally, Candace Owens. I'm kind of liking her. You know, before I never knew and watched, didn't know she even had a YouTube channel. I'm only hearing that, she's saying far out wacky stuff. Sometimes would be interviewed on Fox. But, yeah, I found out about a video of hers when she was discussing Charlie Kirk's case, getting assassinated, suspicious. So yeah, she's a normal person. She's not too far out there. She's an entertainer, and so she has to do some kind of entertainment with her show to keep people interested. I like her intro to her videos, going over her childhood. That was cool. And so, yesterday, she shows the video of the kill shot from an angle that she had never seen before. And so I went to the video I have of the assassination kill shot, and it was the wrong angle. And so I went to the pictures that I have. Oh, there he is. So this is accurate. This is not an AI plant after the fact. The guy is there. He's real. Because Daddy got up and gave a sermon, because he's a pastor. They're associated with the Kirks and their turning point, talking about the day of the shooting. His son calls him, and this is what he's going over to his audience, to his members. My son called me and said, "Dad, they just shot Charlie Kirk. I've got blood all over me." Candace Owens finds the video of that boy during the shooting. Oh my God. She does not understand what she just exposed. See, the forensic investigators were supposed to catch this. They didn't, because they didn't do an investigation. They don't know how to investigate crimes in Utah. I've been going over this with you for years. And in fact, they did it again the other day. We need help solving our crimes that we can't figure out. Something happened, and I don't know. And yeah, again, the other one that they never solved. The family is now suing because nothing has been found after a year. They have no idea how to do investigative research. They don't know how to solve crime as police officers. They only know how to shoot people. And Sim Gill lets them go. And so, yeah, I've been telling you, Tyler didn't do it. They're claiming Tyler is the guy who was on the Luze building without a rifle. But no, her own footage showing it, even though she blurs out the actual kill shot, as all press stopped the camera right before the kill shot, came from this direction, the Fugel building. Tyler didn't do it. If you're claiming Tyler's the guy on the Luze building, he's not the guy who shot Charlie Kirk. This is obvious, basic stuff. Any cop should have figured this out. And yet, despite the whole world knowing it, Tyler's going to be tried for the death penalty when he obviously didn't do it. Mormon boy turning apostate. They're activating him. The Strengthening Church Members Committee isn't directly involved. And so Cox gets up and lies. We got him. They're manufacturing evidence because Tyler didn't do it. Everything they're coming up with, everything they're creating, everything they're manufacturing didn't happen. It's not real. None of it is. And for the defense counsel to egg this on is absurd. It's horrifying. I just found out last week that we're allowed to resume normal communications at 7 a.m. in the morning, not 8 a.m. in the morning anymore. So I'm seeing it's after 7. I can raise my tone. I don't have to whisper. And so the footage that I confirmed with the picture shot of the kill shot does correspond. But here's the kicker that Candace caught when she checked the video. Kirk is shot, and at that moment, he's not sprayed with blood, the other kid. He's behind the tent, so he doesn't get sprayed. But he's right there to know when it happened. And instantly, phone to his ear. He's calling Daddy at that time, saying, Charlie just got shot in the neck. I'm covered in blood. He's not. He's on camera, and Daddy leaked it. And he slowly walks away while everybody else either hits the deck or runs. He's walking away. That is a nonverbal communication tell, in case you didn't know. He's in on it. That son is in on it. And he's in part of Charlie Kirk's turning point, the faith coalition or whatever part of it. It's an inside hit. This is what it is. He knew about it and was there with the phone ready to go once it happened, and to give plausible deniability to his dad about it. He's in on it. It was an inside job. That's why the shooter got away. That Cox let the shooter get away. Now, Cox is a dumbass. We all know this. But for him to take over as the spokesperson, to go overboard to speak at the other turning point. I think he even went to the funeral, didn't he? Isn't that where he also spoke? But then the other Danites rush to give praise to Charlie Kirk. Lee, Curtis. All these Danites are stepping up to say they're, horrified of this evil done to Charlie Kirk. And now they're framing and blaming an apostate Mormon. cause the death penalty for somebody who didn't do it. See, this is where Candace doesn't know the Mormon background of any of this. I do. Because I know about the Danites and their plot and the Strengthening Church Members Committee. Yeah, they got him all right. The patsy. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is in on the con with the Turning Point employee to have Charlie Kirk assassinated here in Utah. That the whole world will see, and just like Jesus of Mormons, is not real. How's that for an ending?